everybody. Welcome back to our Making Sense of Revelation Bible study. This whole month long, we've been taking a look at this speculated about, fascinating, interesting, confusing book all the way at the end of our Bibles. Today, we're talking about chapter 16. So this song that came out a couple of years ago, it's by a band named One Republic. It's called Counting Stars. And part of this song, it says, I feel something so right doing the wrong thing. I feel something so wrong doing the right thing. I couldn't lie. Everything that kills me makes me feel alive. That song, it kind of parallels what we hear from the Apostle Paul in Romans chapter 5 when he says, I do not understand what I do, but what I want to do, I do not do, and what I hate, I do. And if I do what I do not want to do, then I agree that the law is good. I think we all can share this feeling, whether it comes from the Apostle Paul or from the band One Republic. We find ourselves doing the things in our lives that we do not want to do. As soon as we say that we're going to avoid sugar, then we hit up the ice cream, right? Or as soon as we say we're going to go out and exercise, but then we binge watch the next episode. We can all recognize something within ourselves, that this desire for our lives and our humanity to go one way, but then we end up going another. So what is it about being human that makes it so conflicting all of the time? I know if you're like me, you start your day with these big aspirations, but then by the time you hit 4 or 5 o'clock, you just decide that you're going to probably do it tomorrow. In chapter 16, we're still in this battle between the beast and God God sends 7 angels with 7 bowls on attack. And this parallels the 7 plagues that we saw in chapters 8 and 9. We hear this similar message where bowl after bowl, they bring some kind of calamity. The first 4 bowls that these angels bring and drop are all about plagues. But the fifth bowl actually deals with the beast. And then the 6th bowl is poured upon the Euphrates River to dry it up. Now, in a great revelation drama, when the Euphrates River gets dried up, that is when the dragon and the beast know that they are vulnerable, that they are at risk. And so the Bible talks in chapter 16 how they are getting ready for this big battle at Armageddon. John names this location of where this battle is going to take place. It sounds like an action film, doesn't it? This battle at Armageddon, dun, dun, dun. But here's the thing. People have speculated about where this Armageddon will take place, but it actually is right there in the Bible. In Hebrew, Armageddon actually it means Harmageddon. Har meaning mountain in Hebrew, and then Megiddo was actually a place in northwest Palestine. It's a site of previous historic battles. So here's the crazy thing about calling this Harmageddon, that Megiddo isn't actually near a mountain at all. So it's John's beautiful symbolism that God's enemies will be destroyed. The whole thing is one giant, gorgeous metaphor. And when you read this, the most interesting thing is not what God is doing, but what the people are doing. They, just like us, are unwilling to walk away from their evil ways. I feel something so right doing the wrong thing. I feel something so wrong doing the right thing. It's like John is looking at you and I and saying, you know what, I get it. We all know that there are things that keep us broken, that keep our relationships with ourselves broken and keep our relationships with other people broken and keep our relationship with God broken. Yet so often we don't actually turn from it. We don't actually turn our lives around from it. So often we keep doing the wrong thing. We keep pledging allegiance to those things that hurt us, the beasts and the dragons of this world, day in and day out. In this chapter, in chapter 16, God is like a loving parent, disciplining, trying to keep God's people safe by putting up these boundaries. As a parent, you teach your kids to avoid doing the wrong thing, don't you? Even though sometimes you find yourself doing the wrong thing. You tell them say no to drugs or not to touch that hot stove and not to eat all those cookies. But for each and every one of us, there are times in our lives where we start doing the things that we don't want to do. Well, that's it for chapter 16. All seems a little bit lost for now, but don't worry. Hope is coming. So here's my questions for you today. Number 1, can love go without discipline? Is there actually love without discipline? And number 2, what's one thing that you find yourself going back to, even though you know that it isn't good for you? How does this chapter in Revelation relate for you when it comes to that thing? Thanks so much for joining us. Join us again tomorrow as we cruise through our last couple of chapters here of the Revelation study.